Welcome back to the shop. I'm Kirk Anderson. This week's project is a DIY wooden taco shell holder. Now I'll be making this project out of some walnut that I had left over from a previous project. And the first thing to do is cut the boards down on the table saw. Now once that's done, I'm going to use my new small cross-cutting sled that I just built. I do have a stop block in there, but I don't have a tape measure on the sled in order to set it. So I'll have to do it the old-fashioned way with a tape measure and measure it out. Now once the stop block is set, just a matter of cutting the pieces. And I'll need 6 of these pieces. Now I want to round over the top corners of all of these pieces. And the easiest way to do this is all at once. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to temporarily glue them all together. And you do that by first putting painter's tape on all the pieces. And then once all the pieces have the painter tape on it, then just put a couple of dabs of CA glue on the painter's tape. And doing it this way, basically the painter's tape is what's being glued together. And then they'll be easy to take apart. Now to round over the corners, I'll be using my belt sander for that. And it makes quick work of it. Now once the corners are rounded over, then it's just a matter of peeling the pieces apart. And it's real easy to do. Just use a firm putty knife to pry them apart. Now using the painter's tape and super glue to temporarily attach 2 pieces is a trick that can be helpful in many projects. Now once all the pieces are separated, then it's a matter of sanding. Now the edges that are exposed, I am going to sand them to round them over. And in my sanding operation, I started out with 80 grit sandpaper, then I went to 120, and then I ended up with 150. Now to get all the sawdust off the pieces, here's what I did. I washed them all off with a little bit of mineral spirits. Once the mineral spirits have evaporated off all the pieces, it's time to assemble. And assembly is with just glue only. Now I am gluing end grain, so the way I do this, I'll put a thin coat of glue on the end grain and let it set for a minute so it really gets absorbed into the end grain. And before the glue dries and it's still really tacky, I put some more glue on there. And then attach the pieces. And of course, when you're only using glue, you want to clamp it nice and tight, that's so the joint really bonds together. Now as you can see, I'm using a spacer to put in the other pieces, so I don't have to measure each one out. And I put the glue on all the other pieces the same way. And then clamp them down nice and tight. And now there's all the pieces in there and clamped down. Just need to let the glue dry. Now to finish it off, I'll be using butcher block oil finish for this. And this is real easy to apply. Just get a clean rag and wipe it on. Now what you also want to make sure you do in applying any type of finish like this is you don't want to dip the rag into the canister, because that could contaminate what's in the canister. So you always want to pour a little bit out into another vessel. And in most finishes like this, you apply a good coat and then you'll wipe it off. Well, this project is complete and ready for some taco builds. And I will have to admit that I do like my tacos, and this build is going to make it easier to build my tacos. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video and give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, all you woodworkers out there, just get out there and cut some wood.